Hi everyone, today we're going to go through how these graphs move, sine, cosine, and tangent, and then just graph a whole bunch because every example is a little bit different, and I wanted to show you how some of this works. Now, normally we would left to right movement, so we would call this inside H, right? Inside we have an H, outside we have a K. We've also called it inside we had a C, outside we had a D. You can call it whatever letter you want to. That controls left and right. Now, normally we would call that a horizontal shift, but we're going to call this a phase shift when we talk about trig functions. This is still a vertical shift. The number that sticks out is still moving the graph up and down. So again, positive inside, K is outside rather, so positive outside is up, and inside, negative rather, inside is, or outside rather is down, sorry. And then this is horizontal, which remember, horizontal and phase shift we're kind of referring to as the same thing. So horizontal, that's kind of out. Phase shift is now what we will use. Positive shifts it to the left, and negative shifts it to the right. So just to describe these transformations, little stick out number, that's up 2. Again here, just sticks out so we know that that's down 1. Inside, plus is left, and so it's left pi over 2. Inside is opposite, so this is a minus is a right pi. Now we're going to add another part to our graph, and we go to move something up or down. So this is the normal graph right here, and we go to move it up to this graph. We're going to actually move this entire midline, and I'll show you how that works today too. So we do have some new things, and up or down is going to involve moving your midline, and a phase shift is going to involve moving the graph left and right. We'll start with some easy ones, and we'll go back over period and amplitude and just how to draw these graphs. We're still going to draw them the same by memorizing the pattern. So remember, the amplitude is the number out in front, so that's 3/2. The period is 2 pi over b. b is the number in front of x, so this is just 2 pi over 1. Now phase shift is inside the parentheses, so we don't have any. So what I want to show you first is how we're going to deal with moving a graph up or down. Since we're moving this up, I'm going to give myself a lot of space up. So 1, 2, 3. You have to show that and give yourself a new midline. This is your midline, and this is where the zeros live. Would like you to draw that so we can see it. Also, you're going to count your amplitude from there. So that means we have to go up 1.5, and you have to be able to have enough space to go down 1.5. So the period, as you know, goes on this line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 pi, also right down the halfway spot. Now we just draw the graph. So sine has a 0 in the beginning, middle, and end, and sine goes up 1.5, and then in between the next two zeros it goes down 1.5. So by drawing the midline, you won't forget to move it up, and you'll have an exact spot to draw your zeros. So please draw this midline. This is important. Draw it. Now when we shift something left or right, just be careful. This affects this line, the angle, the line where the angle is, and that's kind of a little bit harder. So let's take a look at this. Amplitude, of course, we don't have any, undefined, not possible. Period is 1 pi over b, and b is 1. So this is just pi. The phase shift is left pi over 2. And then the vertical shift, we don't have any. All right, so normally for tangent and cotangent, 1, 2, 3, 4, double the period, and then halfway. Tangent starts usually one line back here. What you have to pay attention to is how far is left pi over 2. So you have to be able to read your graph. This is one space on the graph. It's not always one space, but on this graph, pi over 2 is right here. It is one space. So normally, I have this little yellow line. That's where the tangent would normally start. Well, I have to move it left pi over 2, which is one space. So now my asymptote is going to be right here. It goes asymptote, 0, asymptote, 0, asymptote. And you draw it in. let's try cosine with all the things. You can see there's a lot going on here with this graph. The amplitude is 4. The period, 2 pi divided by 2/3, which is 2 pi times 3/2. So the period is 3 pi, right? Because these are all gone. Straight across the top is 3 pi. The phase shift is right, and I changed this, 3 pi over 2. And then our vertical shift is up 1. Oh, so we got a lot to do here. Our amplitude's kind of big, so I'm going to put this in the middle. So we know we have to go up 1. And we know we have to be able to go up 4 from there. So that's 5. We have to go down 4 from there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's -3. We're moving the graph right, so I'm going to draw this line a little bit longer. And we have period of 3 pi. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 3 pi. Halfway is 3 pi over 2. So we're moving the graph right 3 pi over 2. According to this graph, that's 2 spaces. So I need 2 more spaces. This would be, every 2 spaces is 3 pi over 2. So that's 6 pi, so this would be 9 pi over 2. Okay, so now we're ready to draw the graph, I guess. Now I'm going to draw the graph, and then I'm going to move it. So I'm going to do 2 graphs. And I think this is the easiest way to do it. So let's just draw the cosine. Let's not worry about this right. Let's worry about this later. So cosine starts high, ends high, halfway it's low, and then in between there it's the zeros. But each one of these points has to move 2 spaces to the right. So I'm going to use a different color. So this guy is going to go 1, 2. He's here now. And I'm going to, I don't know, I guess I'll make a triangle. That's kind of a weak triangle. So that I have something that stands out so that it looks different. So, and then I'm going to go 1, 2. So this is a triangle now. They can go on top of each other. 1, 2, triangle. This one has to get moved. 1, 2. And then this guy up here. 1, 2. So now I'm going to connect my blue triangles. And notice that the cosine graph just sort of starts right here. That's fine. It's slid over to the right. It does not have to touch the y-axis. Don't worry about drawing it so that it does. All right, so how do we move tangent? Amplitude, of course, there isn't one. Period is pi over b. This is your b right here. So it's pi over 2. Phase shift, left, pi over 4. And, of course, we're going down 3. So tangent normally lives to the left, and then we're moving it left. So I'm going to go way left. 1, 2, 3, 4, double that. So pi over 2 times 2 is pi. So here's pi over 2. So this is 1 space. Now, normally we don't have to mark this, but we do have to move this down 3. 1, 2, 3. You have to draw this. And now we have to make sure we know what's going on over here. Here's negative pi over 2. I think that's all we'll need. So again, think about how tangent is. Tangent should start 1 space to the left. That's where it's supposed to start. But now we have to move it 1 space to the left, because pi over 4 is 1 space. So now tangent is really going to start right here. So asymptote, 0. Asymptote, put your 0 on your midline. We have to show that it moves down 3, and then you draw the graph. All right, back to sine. This is an easier one. Amplitude is 3 over 2. Period is 2 pi over b. So 2 pi. There is no left or right, and this is up 3. So 1, 2, actually, you know what? One, 2, 3, and then I have to be able to go up 1.5 spaces from there. So there's 5. have to be able to go down 1.5 spaces from there, so I'm good. I don't have to go down any further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 pi, halfway. Moving it up 3 means we need this line. Okay, sine. Sine has a 0 in the beginning, the middle, and the end. Sine's going to go up a space and a half between the first 2 zeros and down a space and a half between the other 2 zeros. All right, last one. Cosine. Amplitude, well, there's a 1 there, right? This is a 1. Period is 2 pi over b, so that's just pi. We're moving this thing left pi, and we're going up 4. Since I'm moving this thing to the left, I'm going to give myself a lot of space to the left. Might be too much space, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, period. Oh, so I have to move this thing left 4 spaces. So there's negative pi over 2. Now I'm going to draw it, and then I'm going to move it. So cosine starts high, amplitude's only 1, ends high, and it's low right there at pi over 2, and here are the zeros. So each one of these are going to get moved to the left 4. So here's this one. This one moves left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And at some point, obviously, you can just follow the pattern. And then this one will end up right here. So our cosine is now completely over there. So try the homework, and whatever questions you have, of course, we will be able to fix next time we meet in class.